Hey, Motorman here, and today we're going to talk about riding with a passenger, because many of you do. In fact, maybe even most of you ride with a passenger. But let me tell you something, you're responsible for that person on the back of the motorcycle. If your skills aren't up to snuff, if all you can do is just cruise straight down the road and come to an easy stop, that's not enough. You need to get your skills up. You need to learn the techniques that I teach, especially for low speeds, and that's where everybody has a problem. Whether they got a passenger or not on board, their low speed handling is pretty bad. And most motorcycle crashes occur at 20 miles per hour or less, so that's why low speed handling is important. You got to know how to use your head and eyes to look where you want to put that motorcycle. You got to know how to use the friction zone. That's the area of clutch travel between completely open when you release it and completely closed. At low speeds, you want to stay right in that friction zone. It's usually about an inch wide, and you'll fluctuate the clutch within that 1 inch and add a little bit of revs. About 1500 RPM is good for most motorcycles. And if you got maybe a Goldwing or a lot of the foreign bikes, the Japanese bikes, they have a very light throttle, so you might want to use second gear on those bikes, but first gear on Harley Davidsons. So you should be able to go through every exercise I show in my Ride Like a Pro video by yourself without any errors before you put a passenger on board. Here's an example of what it should look like when you got a passenger on board. It is also a good idea for the passenger when making low-speed turns to get up nice and close to the rider, so you got most of the weight in the center of the motorcycle. In other words, don't be leaning back on the backrest or the tour pack. If you turn your head and eyes just as the rider does, avoid the instinct that a lot of passengers have of leaning the opposite way of the motorcycle. Once you get good at those exercises, you're able to run them, maybe knock over a cone or two once in a while, no big deal. But you should be able to run that entire course with a passenger on board, because that's going to teach you how to lean, turn, and swerve quickly. And that's what you need out on the road. When somebody gets in your way, you better know where to look for your escape path and be able to turn those bars, get that bike leaning, and swerve around whatever it is that got in your way. Of course, we show you. You might find it as a passenger easier to mount the bike from the right side. That way you don't have to get your leg up over the tour pack and then just slide back. Rider also gets on from the right side. Probably easier for most people, but try it, see what happens. Now, my wife is pretty light. I mean, when I first started riding with her on the back, she was probably 125 pounds. And even though she's ballooned up to 128, it doesn't matter. Nothing changes. The techniques remain the same. When you're going to stop the motorcycle, keep in mind it's going to take a little bit more pressure on the brakes to stop in the same distance as it would with just you on board. But I know right now what some of you are thinking. You're saying, wait a minute, she's awful skinny. My wife is kind of big boned. What happens then? Well, here I am with a rider on the back that weighs 255 pounds. And again, nothing changes. The techniques always remain the same. It doesn't matter if you got one person or two person, and it doesn't even matter what type of motorcycle. Granted, you may have a little bit less lean angle. It's going to scrape a little sooner with a passenger. Of course, we show you that on my Ride Like a Pro Experience video, and it's just 20 bucks. Come on, you're kidding me. By the way, you can still get it right now up to the 17th to get it by Christmas. We also have the Ride Like a Pro Shortcuts to Riding Like a Pro, Surviving the Mean Streets on DVD. Throw in a practice guide. Both of these videos just $20. And a lot of people have been asking me about the motorcycle drop guards. That's what these are. These go around the front crash bars. These are for the rear crash bars. And most important, this one goes under your primary. So if the bike falls over on the left side, you don't have one of these, is a good possibility that you could bend that primary cover. It's going to cost you 500 bucks. It's going to start leaking oil from there. So you get one of these. Now, used to be you had to buy the entire set. And by the way, this is only for Harley touring models. You get one of these, just this piece. I think it's 139 bucks. And oh, that's expensive. Well, the price of steel has quadrupled in the past year or so. But anyway, spend that money on this. You drop the motorcycle, you got nothing to worry about. If you don't care anything about scratching your crash guards, just buy this for 139 bucks, motorcycledropguards.com. But learn to handle that motorcycle when you got two people on it the same way you could handle it by yourself. If you can't handle the bike well by yourself, don't put a passenger on board. I know you go out and you buy a brand new motorcycle, you want to take the wife or your girlfriend or your kids for a ride. Don't do it. Wait until you know exactly what you're doing. At the very least, you should be able to easily U-turn any motorcycle in 24 feet or less prior to putting a passenger on board. If you put somebody on board and you can't make that U-turn, you're going to wind up duck walking the bike and backing it up. The passenger has to get off. If it's your wife, she's going to be mad. She's going to think that you think she's fat. She's going to get off the bike. You'll be pushing, duck walking. There's no reason for that. You could handle all motorcycles the exact same way with these 3 techniques. At the last video I showed you a bunch of sport motorcycles, naked bikes, adventure tours. The techniques are the same for every single motorcycle. Get that through your head. Learn the proper techniques. You'll enjoy riding so much more. You'll be a safer rider, and your passenger will be a lot safer. Before I go, I want to mention we still have the book, The Ride Like a Pro Experience, video, and Surviving the Mean Streets on USB, so you can plug it into your phone when you go out to practice. We throw in a patch, a couple of helmet stickers, they're reflective, and of course you're going to get a practice guide with this $59.90. So ride safe, folks. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I'll probably see you before Christmas, but if you order by December 17th, you'll get it by Christmas. If you wait and you procrastinate, I know a lot of you are procrastinators, don't do it. Order right now and enjoy riding so much more. It's probably, if you're up north, you have a blizzard, a bunch of snow on the ground, it's a great time to be watching riding videos. It'll make you feel a lot better. In fact, even here in Florida, we've got a cold spell coming. Temperatures in the morning are supposed to drop to 50. That's very cold for Florida anyway. So I'll see you soon.